Hey there! Welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. I am your host, Sarah Joy, your friendly neighborhood interrogator turned clone, helping you here get to know the person behind the screen name. Tonight, we're talking to Richard! Yay! Our own ChaosMod. And you may know them from the awesome Discord server. And I was talking to Drunkle Grog before this, and he's like, Richard is the one person who I've not had to warn about their language on the server.
I don't know that that's necessarily the greatest endorsement, but I'll take it.
It is from Drunkle Grog. Oh my goodness, I love that very much. So, hello, Richard. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How does the boring world perceive you?
So the boring world sees me as a loan officer and financer with a credit union out in Utah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I've done basically everything in the finance industry at this point, from tellering. I was the receptionist for a bit.
You've got a great
But
voice for it.
like all your home equity, auto loan, all of it, I've done it at this point.
I love that. A nerd in many, many ways, in all the good ways.
I like math a lot, and it either went computers or finance, and I tried computers first, decided that I hated working in computers and it should be a thing that I enjoy, and went to finance, where I still sort of enjoy it, but it's not a thing that I spend my Saturday afternoon trying to enjoy.
Can we imagine if we were to all spend our Saturday afternoon trying to enjoy finance?
I mean, people would probably have less problems with their accounts if we all spent a Saturday afternoon looking at it.
You know what? Okay, that's fair. So what I hear is we're going to have a Saturday afternoon here on the Discord server where everyone takes a moment and actually looks at your account.
Yeah, just look at it once in a while. That's all we ask.
No, I love it. I love it. So I actually went back to school and got my accounting degree. So I feel like kinship with you. It is actually a ton of fun.
It is.
Yeah. Math only does what math does.
Math as long as you apply the math, all of a sudden it's interesting and you get it. It's when you start playing with the theoretical one infinity is bigger than a different infinity.
There's not that much money in the world.
No.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So I'm curious, your time in computers, you were like, I tried that. That is going to be my hobby. What led you to, I'm so sorry, my dog is crawling under the couch. Boogie, what are you doing? He found a jelly bean. Sorry, friends. So what led you to try computers and then be like, you know what, I need this for a hobby? I'm curious.
So computers were definitely going to be my life. I knew that was my true calling ever since I was very small. And
you were indoctrinated.
My dad got the second computer on the block in the neighborhood at his job, because he was an electrical engineer.
Ooh.
And so I got to brag down to the kid down the street that my computer had a 4 megabyte hard drive, and you were never going to fill that with all of your stuff. And boy, that brag didn't age well. But it was like the old gray Mac with the handle on it and the black and white. Yeah. That was the first one, and I was the kid that got to learn all the computers. We got computers in my elementary school, and I got to teach all the teachers how to use them and stay inside and play video games. And this is the greatest thing ever. It meant that I didn't actually have to talk to people to have fun anymore at recess. My life was saved.
You had a best friend in a little gray box with a handle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And so I went to school for computers, picked up a little bit of programming, a little bit of graphic design, and then consistently failed to get a job using my degree. and ended up in computer sales of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And then after doing that for 11 years, the store got sold out from under us, and like, well, I need something else.
Was that the Circuit City debacle? Because I've just heard about that recently.
No, it was not the Circuit City
Okay.
debacle. I was working
Okay.
for a college, and I was running their bookstore, doing all the computers there. And the college decided it didn't want to run its own bookstore anymore, and so they sold out to a different company that runs colleges' bookstores for them.
I did
And
not
was
know that was a thing. That is funny.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they kept telling us that somebody was going, like, everybody was going to keep their positions, everybody was going to be fine. And then
Huge lie.
somebody else walked in and goes, "Hey, I'm the new computer sales manager." Right. Here's my two
Oh,
weeks.
right, right. It's so nice to meet you.
That's
Goodbye.
great. I can train you for the next 2 weeks and then I'm
Yeah.
out.
Oh my God. Oh, that's wild. And then you were like, banking. You know who always has enough money to pay me? Banks.
Everybody needs banking,
Hmm.
and I get every holiday in existence off.
Oh my God, that's right. Bank holidays.
The only thing I don't get is banker's hours, because those don't exist anymore.
Yeah, yeah. But it's still not that bad because mine closes here at like 5:30 or 6.
Yeah,
Eh.
mine's at 6, which is why I usually manage to make it here on time for Behind the Mask. So
Yeah. Excellent. Well, now we know when you're skating in a little later. We know why. It's those
yeah,
not quite banker's hours.
it's all the people who decide to show up like 5 minutes before we close and say, "I need an auto loan right now."
That's not how auto loans work.
It's not. It's
Oh
not.
my
We need at
God.
least a half hour.
Right, right. The little hamster in the wheel has to spin faster. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that. And you said you've worked almost every position. Um, Obviously you've got a great voice, so the teller comes naturally.
Yep.
Yeah. What, Richard, do you do for fun?
Well, I play a lot of RPGs,
Uh-huh.
and then as many board games and video games as I can feasibly make time for and afford.
Excellent. I love it. So, what got you into RPGs?
Um, I run like just friends in high school, because
Okay.
somehow I had managed to completely avoid RPGs until high school. I didn't know that they were a thing
Mm-hmm.
until I had a friend that was like, "Hey, I went on vacation and was back in my hometown, and I picked up this thing called the Dragonlance AD&D box, and we're all gonna play." I played it once, and we rolled up characters completely wrong,
Of course, yes.
and had a blast anyway, because that's what you do with RPGs.
Mhm.
And then I was suckered in for the rest of my life.
Oh my God, I love it. Do you remember that friend's name?
Yes. Marshall, this is you.
Oh, you still talk to Marshall.
I do. I do.
Oh,
Not as often as I should,
hmm.
but yes.
Oh my God, I
He's
love
got
that.
he's got my copy of Betrayal at House on the Hill. I want it back.
So, Marshall, that is one of my all-time favorite games. Right now, I need you to stop what you're doing, put a stamp on it, go to the post office. I understand it's closed in most places, but go to the post office and mail that game back.
He could drive over. It's only
Oh,
45 minutes.
get in your car right now, Marshall. That's awesome. So you're living where you went to high school then?
Pretty close.
Yeah, me
I'm a
too.
couple cities over, but
I love
uh,
that. Do you and Marshall still game together?
not as often as we should. I think the last time we did was it was just before COVID started. And that's why he has my copy of
I was gonna
Betrayal,
ask. Was the
because
last game Betrayal at Hill
I
House?
was gonna pick it up later, and then COVID happened, and we just haven't managed to. I know he has it because he asked me about it like a month and a half ago because he was moving.
He was moving closer, right, Marshall?
No, no. That's why it's 45 minutes instead of 15
Okay.
now.
Oh, all right. Well, see, Marshall, you had no excuses in that time. Now you have to be more intentional. If we do nothing else in tonight's episode, Marshall's going to come over and game with you.
You know what? I am so in for that.
Perfect, perfect. This is nothing. The title of this episode is Guilt Marshall.
We can
Oh my
also
goodness.
guilt Zach. Zach said we could guilt him.
Okay, why are we guilting Zach?
Because he's only sort of here. He has to be streaming for his because he forgot about a sponsorship.
Oh, Zach. Zach, we are good friends. We've gamed together multiple times. You could bring the sponsor here to our thousands of millions of viewers who watch this show because they're also excited to see the folks who are here on the Discord channel. And
Right.
Richard is interesting and has a wonderful voice. Why are they not here? Okay. That's awesome. So like with your friend group with the original like Dragonlance, the Advanced Dragonlance series that you all played with the RPG, like do you all still game together? Or have you gamed together throughout the years?
We have most of us have kept in touch in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the last time. Like I don't know that all of us have gamed together because we had the ever-present problem of too many people that want to join and none of us being able to say no. And so the gaming group by the end of high school was like 16 of us.
Oh my god. Who is the game master?
All of us, like a bunch of us all took turns.
Okay.
We had this whole council of DMs
Oh my god.
where all of us made we made this shared world and we drew up a world map and everybody got to put in your bit that you wanted to put in, and people ended up being responsible for different pantheons for people and areas and histories, and it turned into this huge thing. I think I'm the one who ended up with all of the maps because I like maps.
Excellent. So what I just heard is you're going to take a picture of the maps and show them to us so we can see this beautiful collaborative world that you all in high school, when all of our hormones are raging, you all figured out how to cooperate and have this beautiful game experience, utopia game experience.
I absolutely can.
Oh yes, awesome.
I
awesome.
think
I just got so excited.
I think it's over there.
Oh my god. Okay, so we can
on
see
those
it live.
shelves.
This is very exciting. So what I hear is there's going to be a reunion and we'll stream the game live here on Discord.
I don't know that we can manage that because we're now all adults and some of us had kids and we have jobs and schedules.
So that's the hardest part of playing any RPG, right? Is scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I try to do like a play-by-post with one of my friends who was from that group, and I think we're about halfway through character creation.
Oh my god. How long have you been playing? How many years have you been playing halfway through character creation?
This one's only about 6 months.
Okay.
So...
You know what? That's really good. That's really good. I like that.
But no, like that original group, we did years. We did all of high school and then a couple of years after that until we were just like, there are too many of us and we all have to have jobs now because our parents wouldn't pay for things for us anymore. And I wanted a car and things like that.
Talk, Richard.
And so we stopped being able to do the whole go to somebody's house, set up tents in the backyard, and game all night.
Oh my god, this is literally what I feel like we all wanted in our high school experience.
It was pretty much the dream. Everybody talks about how terrible high school was, and I'm like, no, it was pretty good for me. I I got to do a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons, so
So I'm super curious. So high school, again, like I've mentioned this a couple times, high school is really fraught with a lot of drama. How did you all manage that?
I mean, we were all all of the various types of nerds,
Uh-huh.
and so all of the drama in high school was happening with the popular kids and the jocks. And so we just kind of had our own little we all went out. We didn't eat in the lunchroom. We ate out in the courtyard,
Uh-huh.
and we're just there. And we talked Dungeons and Dragons and experimented trying to find the greatest fry sauce in existence.
Okay, so what is the greatest fry sauce in existence?
At that point, I think we
Mhm.
had decided it was ranch dressing
Ah, okay. Okay. I
because
don't think you're wrong.
I mean it's still pretty good on fries. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like it. Oh my God, that's amazing. So, at any point, did you all find, because you've got 16 people that you're trying to manage in a group that's huge, um, did you all like come up with some kind of conflict management? Or like you're just that amazing of a human being that you attracted like 16 other people who like were like, whatever you say.
I
Like, we
mean
all love each other so much.
that's kind of why we ended up with the whole Council of DMs thing, was
Okay.
so that you could be in charge of this thing and you
Mhm.
were the final arbiter about that. So if you wanted to ask somebody about the elves in the world, you had to come and ask Richard. Where if you wanted to talk about this country and what's the deal with why they hate paladins, that's my friend John.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
And so it was always, and then we would tended to end up with campaigns in the area that we were the final arbiter on so that nobody could disagree with us.
Very smart. Very smart.
And then once it did get eventually just too big to manage, and we ended up imploding into like three or four different groups that were all a mix of like 5 or 6 people. That way it wasn't quite as bad as trying to run and figure out combats and things for 16 people at once.
Yeah, that is insane. That's amazing though that like you all kept it going for so long. Has that been kind of a trend in your RPG life?
It really actually has. I've been very lucky with my RPG groups
Okay.
because after all of that happened and we ended up losing touch with each other for a couple of years, got back in
Mhm.
touch later, and then there was a local game store that opened up that would host
Ooh.
like RPGs on Wednesdays. And so we would go there, and they were a really great like they had huge space in the back that was just tables for people to
Nice.
come and play. And so that also ended up getting really, really big to where it was just open RPG night. Anybody could show up, anybody could come and play at anybody's table.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
so we ended up having, I think, like 6 or 7 tables that would all run simultaneously. And we would do like 3 months on any given game. And it would
Mhm.
be this would be that. And all the tables would end at the same time. All the people who wanted to run a game would start up a new one. And then the next week, everybody would mix around, change tables, change DMs, and play different games, different RPGs. And it lasted until 2019 when
Oh my gosh.
the the owners of the game store decided that they were done, and
Oh.
so they ended up selling it and having and moving, and there
Mhm.
were no other game stores in the area that had that kind of space.
Oh no.
And so basically whoever was on your table at that time, they all split up and went to different places. But as far as I'm aware, most of them are still meeting weekly with those tables.
Oh my
Like
God, that's so cool.
the other thing I do on Monday nights, if I'm not doing behind the mask with people, is I am
Mhm.
running games for that same group.
Oh my God.
Like that's my table, and we still game weekly if we can manage it.
Oh my God, I love that so much. So I have a theory about people is we tend to attract what we do put out there, and it always amazes me. Like you say that you're lucky, and I don't think that that's the case. I think that that's what you put out there, and that's what you tend to attract. So like now we all want a game with you, and
Well,
how
I
we run
mean,
our games.
I'm still trying to recruit people to play the ninja game on on the Discord. So if you want to play Anime Ninja Hijinks,
I mean, I do love Naruto. Yeah. Crystal is also wondering what ninja game is this on looking for players? For those
it
of you who
is.
are not on our Discord, number one, why are you not? Number two, like, we've got a lot of different channels in here that you can find things like games and stuff to play with. So yes, tell us where it is.
Yeah, no, it's in the looking for group one, looking for adventure, and it's the one labeled the Shadow War.
Mark just whispered it. And now we all
And
know all of this amazing experience you've had for eons running games.
and so yeah, no, it is a very different game. Like the game in there, it's called Shinobigami, and is a it encourages PvP in the game, but it doesn't do it in a bad way, which
Okay.
is kind of amazing given like all the problems that involve PvP in pretty much every other RPG in existence.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like if everybody like for people who have managed to get into one of Mark's Mechanical Corners games, it kind of plays a little like that where there is an overarching story and there are alliances and betrayals and only one of you is going to come out the winner, but who knows who that's going to be in the end.
Oh my God. Is so it's kind of Highlander. Kind of like Highland, and I'm hoping that's not super dated. Kind of like
No, we
Highlander meets Naruto.
kind of
Oh,
because it is a modern setting, so it's all modern-ish Japan, and so your ninja can run around with guns or swords if you want to go full Highlander.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's it's very much the mechanics and aesthetics are completely separate from each other,
Okay.
which I both love and hate because you have like the numbers on the die only matter for determining success or failure. Your description can be as off the wall and bonkers as you want it to be. So, like, if you want to describe your ninja power as being able to lift up buildings and throw them, it still only does 1 point of damage, but boy, howdy, you can lift up buildings and throw them.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So what I'm hearing is you can beat Godzilla.
You abs, I mean, you can be Godzilla in a human form. Go for it.
I mean,
We all like,
what is human?
right?
Oh my
We
God,
have
that's
some
amazing.
very good gifts going on
We
right now.
do, we do. Again, for people who are not in the chat, like I have so I have your video pinned to the top right underneath my camera so I can look at you. And
There we go.
I have the chat going on right next to it with their list of questions and my note pinned of questions as well. It's always just hijinks on here and I love it. Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So it's going to be a Discord wide game of Shinobi hijinks craziness. Richard's going to run it. And there are going to be 40 of us. Actually, I think there are 80 of us in the channel. Do you think you can run an 80-person game?
I mean, 80 people at once might be bad, but it is supposed to be a campaign. So if people want to do it in 4-hour stints of like 5 people each, 100%. We can do
Oh
it.
my God. I love that. I love that. Okay, we're going to do it. This is amazing. Ah, it's so good. Oh, hijinks. All right. So what, like, most of us here are Star Wars nerds, but not all of us, and we don't have to be, which is the wonderful thing about this Discord server, right? What got you into nerdiness in the first place, and what is your favorite fandom? And I know I asked you 2 questions too.
I blame my parents
Okay, awesome. Awesome. They all have
because,
messed us up.
yep, and mine decided that, you know what, kid, you want to entertain yourself. Here's this book called The Hobbit. Go for it.
Yes.
And so I did The Hobbit and Redwall and
Mm.
Dragons books, and then as soon as I discovered that there were Star Wars books as well, I got those. Like
Oh my
the
gosh.
one of the things so my parents ended up returning one of the Redwall books I had gotten from the library
Uh-huh.
without letting me read it, because I turns out they had bought it for me for my birthday in like 2 weeks, and I was so mad that somebody had taken this book.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, have you
But
forgiven them?
I have now, because tragedy plus time is comedy. So
Excellent. Yes, yes, it is. Oh my god. I love that. So, how old were you when they handed you The Hobbit?
I was probably like 8 or 9. We
It's a little
we had
heavy.
done a lot. Like, anytime we went on a family road trip, there was either my mom reading a book to us, or they had gotten like a book on tape
Hmm.
from the library, and that was the way to keep all the kids quiet, was we would all just listen to the book.
How many are there?
Uh,
Kids?
there's there was only 3 of us at the time, and then I had a younger sister that happened when I was 10. So
I like that the younger sister happened. Oh
it's
my
true.
goodness.
For years, we had told her that she had been picked up at like a flea market for a nickel, because we were good older siblings.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It definitely didn't cause any kind of lasting trauma or
Mm-mm.
any psychological scarring.
She's well adjusted now. She's not been searching for her parents, going from flea market to flea market for many years, living
No,
in cars.
she no longer relies on dogs for relationships instead of people, because people have always betrayed her. Definitely not.
No, no. I also, I do support relying on dogs for relationships, but oh my gosh, that's amazing. So there were three of you listening to all of these wonderful, and I'm going to assume very geeky books
Oh,
during
yes.
that time. Awesome.
Oh,
And then your
yes.
parents handed you The Hobbit and it was done. When did you first see Star Wars?
Oh, who knows? I honestly don't. I know my parents owned them on VHS that they had recorded off of TV,
Yes. Because that's how you
and
did it back in the day, kids.
exactly. And I remember watching them a lot,
Mm.
and that, except they wouldn't ever let me watch the beginning of Return of the Jedi because of the whole bikini Leia outfit, and they're like, you can't watch this until you're older. The sword fighting and violence, that's fine, but
But Bikini Slave Leia.
no.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's so good. So how did you find us?
Um, Honestly, I think I ended up going. I had a very weird roundabout route, because I listened to a couple of actual plays that
Mhm.
were. I did one shot from,
Okay. Hmm.
because who didn't? Because James
Hmm.
D'Amato was just a fabulous person doing things. Ironically, I got into that because he did a live play of Shinobi Gami.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey, somebody's actually playing this game. I'd love to see how it goes.
Hmm.
And then from there, I ended up listening to, I think I did some of Campaign. And then I found out about Heroes of the Hydian Way
Hmm.
for Ben, and was like, wait a minute, they're doing this. And then on one of the ones that I went from there to like Silhouette Zero, and somebody mentioned Coruscant Nights at some point, and it was might have been like because there was somebody talking about. I was probably on like Party of One, where somebody mentioned
Oh
that
yeah.
there was a one person, one GM game that was Star Wars, and I'm like, well, I'm about that, and ended up going through and just binge listening all of that, and slowly making my way through everything even loosely related,
Uh-huh.
because I'm caught up on Coruscant Nights now. I haven't started the new one that the Redemption people have started. I haven't done that one yet,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
but I'm caught up now on Force Majeure, caught up on Tales of the Outer Rim.
Nice.
Let's see, and then caught up
Dicey
on
Cantina yet?
Starbirds. I've already done Dicey Cantina,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so we're caught up on. No, I'm actually not. I'm in the middle of the latest Foxglove Letters. I haven't caught it. I'm not caught up there.
I like that one.
So,
Nice.
but it's basically goes to the once I get caught up on everything in all of my podcasts, I try and figure out what new thing can I binge listen to,
Yes.
because I I need some, like, if I'm not at work, I need something to be listening to at basically all times,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I can do things while I listen to podcasts.
Yes, you can.
So
It's magic, right? People haven't found this yet. Oh my God, I
I
love
don't
it.
know.
Yep.
And then in between, like, because I'm one of those people that's slightly dissatisfied with Disney Star Wars, but my favorite thing in all of Star Wars is like actual plays,
Uh-huh.
because I love hearing other people's versions of Star Wars, because they're all different and great, and in my head they all exist in the same place because there's nothing in them that contradicts any of the other ones. And
That's
some
right.
of them include nods to the other ones, and it just reinforces my headcanon further.
Yep. I love it. Oh my God, I love that so much. Yes. All yes. Actual play Star Wars equals best Star Wars.
It's
I totally
true.
agree with that. Oh, that's so fun. I love that. All one universe. Yep. And like that's the beautiful thing about Star Wars is it is such a giant universe to play in. Like that
Hmm.
we have just enough to make it even more fun. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, you're finally ahead of me. I binge pretty hard as well. I have to have that sound constantly going. So like I have music always running in the background, and if I'm not in a meeting, then I've got something talking to me. So
Hmm.
other than my phone.
See, because I can get away with doing that while I play video games, or I
Mm-hmm.
I haven't managed to figure out how to listen to an actual play and also be playing an RPG at the same time. But if I ever do,
It'll be there. I can see it. I love that. Oh, that's awesome. So I am curious, like you do a lot of gaming, you do a lot of listening to gaming, like as do I. We'll now talk about it a lot because you're stuck with me as a friend. Um
excellent.
forever. But how has gaming affected your everyday life?
Well, it honestly, it's where 90% of my social skills come from. Because back when when that original group happened,
Mm-hmm.
100% I was the quiet, shy, sit in a corner and read a book kid.
Uh-huh.
I legitimately went to school dances with a fantasy novel and sat by the punch bowl,
Uh-huh.
because then I could have drinks and a book and nobody bothered me.
I love that.
But once I start, because going into computers was going to be my thing, and I didn't have to deal with people.
Mhm.
Except every job I ever got, I had to deal with people at some point.
It's amazing
They
how that
wouldn't leave me alone.
works.
And so with the giant group and learning to try, like, handle some of those interpersonal, like, I would like this, I don't want that, it helped learn to how to handle a bunch of the conflict, how to be a mediator, as well as safe way. Like it was a safe place to try and be someone else,
Mhm.
where where all of that came from. That's probably where everything, the friendly smiley person you see before you is 100% comes from gaming.
Oh, I love that.
Because I eventually, when the gaming group imploded and we all had to find our own groups to run stuff because we couldn't all fit in the same group anymore, we had to we had to talk to other people to get them to play games with us. And so then you had to be about selling yourself and your game. So, like, honestly, RPGs are the reason I am the way I am.
Oh my God, I love that. I I honestly believe that gaming does make us better people, and it again, like you said, provides that safe space to experiment with social interactions and to get it wrong around people who love us and support us. So,
Absolutely. Like,
yeah.
there's no, there have legitimately been actual studies done. There's
Really?
uh oh yeah, no,
I'm in space science. I like that. I didn't know. Tell me about this.
there was a Japanese professor of social sciences that ended up writing his own RPG to use with kids that are autistic or struggle with verbal communication,
I think
and
that's
was
amazing.
using that to help them learn to communicate in a safe space, to help them interact with other peers, to how to settle arguments when you don't like when they all disagreed on what to do. They what's it ended up getting published. I think
I'm gonna Google
it
it
was
as soon as you
Challenge Dungeon. I can
challenge.
look it up. I'll look it up and I can
Yeah,
post a
drop the
link
link.
later,
Yeah,
because
perfect.
it was Yasuda Lin was the guy who did it, and they had him and his one of his associates published a paper about using it in in the medical setting to try and help people there. And there it was just a fascinating read about like the psychology behind it, and making this approachable thing to help people learn to communicate better.
Oh, I love that so much. That's amazing. And like again, like we all know this, right? Because we're all in the gaming community and we're like, well, yes, we've known this since the 80s. Where have you all been?
Hmm.
And-
But it was
oh,
hidden behind like the Satanic Panic, and
right, right. Because
I mean
the
that almost prevented me from playing games,
really.
because my mom had heard, she had only ever heard all of this stuff about it. She didn't know anything, and she was like, I'm not sure about this. But my dad had played uh Gygax's Western themed RPG, Boot Hill, and
Uh-huh.
was like, oh yeah, no, this is fine, I know what this is.
Oh my
And
gosh. Go ahead.
so yeah, but that's how I got to play, was because my dad had played an RPG before and my mom hadn't, and I almost didn't get to play because it was gonna be devil worship. So
That's amazing. So has your mom played yet? Has she played an RPG yet?
she has not played an RPG yet, but I suspect that she wouldn't be against playing it. There's just trying to get time and people and one that she's interested in. I've managed to get her to play board games, so.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, let's so the next
And
episode will be your
Kay,
mom playing.
absolutely, yes, I have invited her.
Oh good. Oh good.
Like, basically all of my family reunions that were when I was vaguely vaguely old enough to do things, I would show up with board games and RPGs and just go, all right, family, this is what Richard's doing.
Come on in, family. Let's have some real bonding.
Right?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Andrew would like to know if you've invited her to the server yet.
I have not. That is honestly my mistake. But
Get your mom on Discord. You know, nothing bad can come from that.
yeah, no. See, but you guys are all great. Like, and essentially you'd all just end up being adopted by my mom, and so you'd have another mom.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
that's what she does to all of my friends. She just becomes their mom too.
Yeah, tis the Midwest way. Yes,
It's
100%.
true.
This is this is the Midwest way. Know this very, very deeply. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna have a game with your mom. We're gonna all play the Shinobi game, and we're also gonna have a game with your mom. I found a Cozy Tea Mystery RPG recently. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
Please
And
do.
yeah, feel like that's her fit. She's a Midwest mom. There's a recipe in it too.
Oh, see, there you go.
I
I think
got it.
like because that was one of the things I did get from my mom was a fantasy book with a recipe in the back. So
Oh my god, that's so cute. What fantasy book was that?
it was the Book of Enchantments, and
Okay.
it is a collection of short stories by Patricia Reedy.
Uh-huh.
And one of the short stories involved a cooking contest because a wizard had used a spell to turn a frying pan into an ultimate weapon. And because it was an ultimate weapon, it was destined to be bonded to one person, and they needed to find the person who could use it. So they came up with the idea of holding a tournament, but it was a tournament to show how well rounded everyone was. So knights would have to use this frying pan to cook while they were doing a cooking segment. And so I think there was a barbarian that won the cooking competition with quick after battle triple chocolate cake. And so they included the recipe in the back of the book.
And how was it?
It's very chocolatey. I'm going to make the dark confession. Now you know all about this. I don't like chocolate. I am the person that your parents warned you about.
I mean, so I didn't believe that games had any basis in satanic worship, but right now I am questioning it with you
Now
not
you
liking
know.
chocolate.
Now you know.
Oh my
I
goodness.
went through all of school telling people that I was allergic because it was easier for them to accept that I wouldn't eat the chocolate because I was allergic and not that I just didn't like it.
Oh, that's so Richard, I too have a confession. Um I prefer gummies over chocolate. So,
See?
yeah, anything gummy or sugary over chocolate. So,
It's,
we I get it.
that's all right.
Yeah, yeah. We won't tell
But
anyone else. Don't worry.
no,
Secret's safe
it's a
here.
seat. Yep, just between us.
Just between us. Oh my God, I love that. We've already managed to talk for 45 minutes, which is not surprising
Oh
because
no.
you are, again, absolutely charming. I would like to get to some of the questions in the chat, and I know there's one that you're
Okay.
dreading, so I want to ask that first.
Oh.
You even
All
posted
right.
about it.
All-time number one favorite book.
See, you
I have
already
to
know.
ask. So I have to ask then, is it just favorite book to own or favorite book to read? Because they are different answers.
Yes.
Okay. So for favorite book to own, it is a toss-up because I have a copy of the New Testament in Scots. Like
Ooh,
and it's amazing.
that
Uh
is.
I Okay, I will go and dig it. It's in a bookshelf in another room. I can go dig that up later.
That's right. Never
And
one with
then
bookshelves. Never.
no, this is like most of the bookshelves you can see behind me are RPG books. And then there's a couple of more RPG bookshelves over here that we can't see. I have a lot.
As you should.
And the other one for favorite book to own is I have a book that I love and I like lending it to people to get them to read it if they haven't.
Uh-huh.
And I have met the author. I've had the book signed. And several copies of this book have ended up walking away and never coming back to me.
Uh-huh.
And so I have had this book signed 3 times by the author, because I've got a couple of other ones. And so this most recent one is now signed to Richard. Again, if you are not Richard, don't steal this book, give it back, and then the author's signature.
Oh my god. Okay. What is this book?
It is the Mistborn. It's the Mistborn: The Final Empire, Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, I've not read that.
If you like fantasy, it's
Mhm.
very fun. It's basically a fantasy heist novel.
Ooh.
So, and then I mean, if you haven't gotten into Sanderson at this, I mean, he's everywhere these days, right?
I haven't read anything.
Well, now you know. You can look up Mistborn. It's very good.
Can I borrow that book?
Yeah, I can post it to you. You just have to get it back to me. Otherwise, he'll have to sign it again.
You'll be like, I know the person who took it this time. You just have
And
to.
Erica, that's fair. I understand not getting into him out of stubbornness, because it's why I didn't end up watching Bleach, because I got my cousin into anime, and then he would only talk about Bleach, and so I refused to watch it.
I get this. I had to stop the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series out of stubbornness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Oh my god, I love that.
So yeah, like I get anybody who's not reading Sanderson, because as soon as you get into it, then like literally it becomes the only thing. You'll be like, have you read Sanderson yet?
That was me with Rothfuss for a hot minute, and then he can't finish his last novel. So
Right.
If Sanderson is producing, I'm there.
Thus far he has not failed. He does keep a like ticker on his website that tracks what he's writing and how far along he is. So
I'm very proud of him.
But yeah, so that's favorite books to own, and it's because admittedly the To Richard Again is just a really funny thing to have it. But it's the favorite book to read is probably Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. I loves myself Discworld, and I loves myself time travel, and it has time travel in Discworld. And Sam Vimes is my favorite, so if you haven't read Night Watch, you don't need to know literally anything else about Discworld to get into it. It is part of a series, but each one is its own individual story, and you'll learn about the characters through it. So
that's amazing. Okay. Oh my gosh, I had such a good, insightful question and it's gone. No. So Discworld, Terry Pratchett. I love it. I think I'm still stuck on Brian Sanderson. We'll come back to it. It's fine. I'm going to remember it and give it to you, and it's going to be amazing. And you're going to be like, that is the most insightful question. I now know something about myself, but I don't know what it is again. Okay. So, that is amazing. What is your favorite new read of this year? It's not in the question, so don't bother.
Okay. Favorite new read this year. I recently binge listened to all of the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells.
That is my all-time favorite. I have listened to them over 20 times.
I love them so much, and I'm so excited for the new one to come out in November.
Yes. I have not gotten to talk to anybody else who has ever listened to them or read them. So I'm incredibly excited. They are very near and dear to my heart. I am Murderbot. So
nice.
Yes, I too would have been a mass murderer except for television.
Right? Television and RPGs.
That's right.
That's my actual play RPGs. It's my media.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Right. And like we have so much of it to consume, which is amazing. Um,
Hmm.
what is your favorite moment from an actual play RPG that has stuck with you? I'm very curious.
Favorite moment from an actual play. Okay. Uh, so it's a ridiculous one, and many of you will get it because of Star Wars. It was when I was listening to Campaign,
Mhm.
and it's all the Second City comedians just doing a bunch of comedy bits in Star Wars, and started talking about Sheev Palpatine, and somehow for all the across everything, I had never managed to realize that Sheev was his actual canonical name in fiction. And I thought it was the greatest joke. And then I found out it was not, they were not doing a bit. And it was
Oh,
just
man.
actually what he was named in Star Wars.
That's such a terrible name. Also, now I understand why it went to the dark side.
Right? I mean, I would 100% rather be called Sidious than Sheev.
Right. Chief Palpatine. Chief, please raise your hand.
And so I think that is one of the biggest ones that was like, I ended up just dying from that.
Oh, that. Oh. Okay. All right. Back to questions. What is your beverage of choice?
Dr. Pepper.
Ooh, excellent. It's what, like 52 flavors all into one?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Perfect, perfect. Zach would like to point out that they know that Dr. Pepper is your favorite. Good job, Zach.
It's true. It's why I suggested Dr. Pepper Dice and why I bought them off of him. And
Nice.
they
And
are so good. To be fair, there is a reason why ended up being my favorite ones,
oh
because
yeah.
I had migraines as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents at one point, like we were driving on a road trip where there wasn't anything. I was dying in the back seat of the van.
Okay.
And so they stopped to get Dr. Pepper to have me sip for the caffeine, and it
Mm-hmm.
helped the migraine. And so all
Oh
of a
yes.
sudden, it became the most magical elixir known to man, because if it stopped a migraine, it was obviously the food of the gods.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And there is like science about caffeine and migraines too.
Hmm.
Like caffeine actually helping migraines. Also, it's
Well,
delicious.
and like that's actually where the doctor in Dr. Pepper comes from, is it was initially made as a migraine medication. Yeah, Dr. Charles Alderton of Waco, Texas, invented Dr. Pepper to use as a migraine medication.
How many times have you read the Encyclopedia Britannica, Richard?
Only once, and then it moved. Then I ended up shifting over to Wikipedia.
I'm impressed. I am impressed.
I
I
did
love I
at
love all
one
these
point
tidbits.
start a Dr. Pepper cult while I was working at that college bookstore.
Uh-huh.
And so we had his birthday was a holiday for our cult, and we would sacrifice cans of Dr. Pepper out on the loading dock to help people get better grades.
In addition to running a mostly drama-free, like giant RPG group in high school and making it through unscathed, um, and figuring out that like the financial world needed you and your wonderful voice, you also started a cult.
Yes.
With
I mean,
sacrifices.
look, sacrifices, they needed to be made. You had to have a blood sacrifice. Otherwise, what kind of cult were you running? None of the other cults are going to take you seriously or have some kind of sacrifice.
That's very true. That's very true. I like that. I'm here for this. I'm here for this. All right. Okay. Oh my god, it's so good. Uh, all right, I'm gonna keep reeling from this, and I'm going to ask one more question. No, I'm gonna ask more. Lightning round. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
What is your favorite non-Star Wars RPG and why?
Ryutama,
Okay.
because it is a small, like it's a very simple RPG, but it has a lot of stories that you can tell in it. It's fairly simple to teach or learn. It's great for if you're just getting into running games as a GM, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of tools in there to teach people to it. I love the pictures for it. It's a very like cute kind of anime aesthetic,
Mhm.
and it has a lot of stuff for telling the different types of stories, where basically instead of being big adventurous heroes, you are the people who would be an NPC in any other game. You're shopkeepers and farmers, and you're going on small journeys to deliver a letter or go to the next town. And so I love that one. I love it so much.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Ah, that's so good. All right. How long have you been podcasting? Tell us about your podcast.
We have been going since 2018,
Okay.
and we've been posting every 2 weeks since. I think we've only missed once.
Oh my god.
And uh, I'll plug it really quick. It's called Plot
Yes, yes.
Spackle.
It's called
We
Plot
talk
Spackle.
Plot Spackle.
I love that. Okay.
We fill plot holes in movies.
Oh my god,
And
that's so
so,
good.
like, we watch a film and then we go through, we look at everybody's plot holes that they go, how does this work? Why this wouldn't ever happen? And then we start trying to come up with reasons why it would actually work if you think about it like this. And as long as it's internally consistent, or sometimes you will hear Richard go way too deep into research on things that definitely you never needed to learn about. Because one of the things that did apply to my financial industry stuff was we covered Ocean's 11 and
Oh
how
yes.
you can't carry like $16 million in those duffel bags. And so, I mean, I may have contacted the company who made the bag to actually get the dimensions to go, all right, how big is this bag? Because
Oh my god, that's the best.
I know how much a bill weighs. I deal with that all the time. I can make it work.
You're like, I can do the calculations on this and I know how large the US government prints money.
It's true. I ended up with a giant Excel sheet that had a breakdown of how much each bill denomination would have weighed and what kind of mix we would have needed to do. And essentially, we all just decided that basically Benedict's a collector, and so he carries around some $500 and $1,000 bills because he had an art gallery. So
Mhm.
we know that he's into things for their collector's value, not just their intrinsic. So,
Oh my god, that's amazing.
and
Okay,
then
so
we,
Plot Spackle, we all have to go watch it,
yep.
listen to it.
And then if you ever want to, my co-host Eric never watched
Mhm.
anything growing up. And so
Mm.
every once in a while, we force him to watch things that he should have seen ages ago. Like we made him watch Labyrinth, we made him watch The Goonies, and
I
then
didn't watch anything and I watched The Goonies.
see,
What
like,
in the world, Eric?
yeah, no, it was unfortunately there's not an episode on The Goonies because I forced him to watch it before he ended up turning 30 years ago because I was like, we cannot be friends if you turn 30 without having watched The Goonies.
Okay, that one's fair. Yep, I agree. Facts. Oh my god, it's so good. And I hate that it is already the end of our hour cuz like you're just a delightful human being, which is why you could run a 16-person game in high school. Like, I'm gonna
Oh,
keep going back to that because,
it's a
like,
mess. My advice: don't
yes.
do it. Smaller groups,
Well, look what you
but more
learned.
often sessions.
Yes, yes. Look what you learned and look who it made you. I love it. Oh my goodness, it's so good. All right, friends. So we're going to sign off here on the YouTubes, but we are going to go into our Discord channel, onto our other, oh my goodness, I can't find it, onto our general chat. I think that's what it's called. And we are going to continue having our conversation with Richard, so you can jump over there. But until then, other than Plot Spackle, Richard, where can we find you on the internet?
Almost exclusively in this Discord. But Plot Spackle, you can find me there, or in theory, I have a Twitch channel that I almost never use,
Oh, yeah.
also called Chaos Modifier.
Love it.
But it was how I made it through COVID, was streaming all the grindy bits of the long JRPGs that I love to play.
Oh my God, so good. So good. Well, friends, Twitch, or you heard it here, the Discord channel. Come join us. Hang out with Richard. Play the Shinobi game. I'm going to be playing it because I can't not now. It's going to be amazing. I assume they're going to be hot tub episodes. It's going to be so good. Friends, until next time, we are going to take a 2-month break. We are going to come back in October. Right now, we don't have any more guests scheduled. Why? Because we need you. There are still 30 some of you in here who have not joined us. That's right. On Behind the Mask, and we need you. It's going to be, I know, so many people that we want to learn about. It's going to be
Right?
awesome. So, friends, until then, in October, when we have a new amazing guest who is just lurking in our Discord, waiting to be discovered, we'll see you later. Richard, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's delightful. Bye, friends. Now we wave and we look happy. And Andrew tells
Hey,
us when we're done.
hey, it's not a